Anything can happen in sports and often does. What's right, what's wrong, and who's just crazy? We decide. Inbounds and out of bounds now. With Tiki and Tierney.
By the way, quick aside, because I know I'll forget this. Watching the highlights here, there was a matchup last night, UCF and some other school where college hoops, where they have two of the 40 biggest men in the world.
Yeah.
One was just granted eligibility. He's actually thought to be, woof, that was a pretty sweet dunk, to be thought maybe a partial qualifier. One is 7'6", one is 7'7".
Wow.
I don't know if they can play. But the highlights are probably worth it. It's UCF in Florida and
UC Irvine.
UC Irvine, there you go.
Yeah.
Out in California.
UCF and UCI.
All right.
Wow, they look massive standing next to each other, dude.
7'6" and 7'7".
Wow.
I got to check out the box score to see if they did any damage.
Yeah.
Mike, can you check that out? Check out the box score for those young men.
That's a good
All
game,
right.
too. 58-58 late in the
I don't
second.
care about that. It's
I'm just
UCF,
saying, no,
UCI,
overtime it went into.
Great overtime.
It doesn't matter.
Unless somebody swats one to the moon or like touches the ceiling because they're 7'20". All right, you ready?
Go ahead.
The Jaguars are 3-6. They take on the Titans tonight, as we know, 2-7. By the way, a 3-point spread if you're interested. Jaguars laying the points. Anyway, Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. And despite the record, the Jags are just a game out of the lead in the very muddled AFC South. So, Teak, the Jaguars will win the South.
Come
Inbounds
on.
out of bounds.
No chance. This is way out of bounds.
You're not giving him a chance?
I'm not giving them a chance. I think I should, because the AFC South with now Andrew Luck hurt, and who's starting the quarterback for the Houston Texans right now?
But it's going to be T.J. Yates.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. That's my
Playing
point.
my Jets this week.
That's my point. They just picked up Brandon Wheaton, too, by the way, because...
And the thought was it was like a strategy to keep away from the Colts.
Yeah, because Brian Hoyer is out with a concussion. Yeah. T.J. Yates is starting. But the Jaguars, I mean, maybe they'll get a little close. They've gotten better as the season's gone on. But I don't think they're going to win the South. I'll say out of bounds.
Going out. I'm with you as well. I was trying to come up with a reason to maybe bolster some confidence. And they're on the come. And they've got some really good vertical weapons. I like Bortles. He's got to stop throwing. He misses some easy throws. Other than that, he's actually a pretty highly skilled quarterback. They're playing the Titans tonight. Then they play San Diego, who's beat up and bad. Then they play the Titans again. So at least short term, there's a chance to hang around for a while. Their defense isn't good enough here.
No.
You know, the Texans' defense is really good,
Right.
or at least showing signs of being what we thought they might be. Colts are the Colts, good and bad. They're a year away. Their defense isn't ready to give up 30 points a game. So I'm going to say out of bounds as well.
Are you in or are you out?
Number 2, after Andy Dalton's reaction to J.J. Watt's jokes about his nickname, players around the league believe that you can now get under his skin. All right, Dalton's thin skin is the reason he fails so often in primetime games.
No, that's out of bounds. Look, he's emotional because they lost the game against the Houston Texans that they had no business losing. So anything you would have said to him that, elicited some sort of emotional reaction, you knew he was going to get a stupid response. And so, does he have thin skin? Maybe. Is that the reason why he fails in primetime games? I don't think so. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of other things, including Andy Dalton, but more production from everybody else as well.
Yeah, there's also some context here that I know with Andy gets overlooked. A.J. Green didn't play in the postseason game last year. Mm-hmm. They've had a lot of injuries. Now, he hasn't played well at all. But, and he doesn't have a great arm. I'm going to say inbounds here. And I'm going to play the semantics games. You want to say under his skin or the way he compartmentalizes pressure, whatever it might be. It's all coming from the same root in the ground. And there's something about Dalton that I think that tightens up a little bit when the stage is bigger and the spotlight's magnified, because I do think that there's enough skill that there shouldn't be such a disjointed performance or uneven performance from regular season to postseason. He's got to exercise it this year. Otherwise, you almost have to latch on to that theory.
Are you in or are you out?
All right, we've already hit this here. Former Vikes wideout and Hall of Famer Chris Carter says white wide receivers don't get enough credit for their athleticism. And as fans, we often make assumptions based on race. Chris Carter's comments are inbounds or out of bounds. Well, listen, for me, I think they're real. So for me, that's inbounds.
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways.
I can't argue with it, especially the fact that we make assumptions about people and athletes because of their race.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's true or not, we make the assumption.
Yeah, but you can also quantify 40-yard dashes.
Yes.
And listen, this makes some people uncomfortable. I'm not smart enough to truly know the origin. All I know is, as a white guy, I felt significantly slower than black athletes when I played against them.
Slow twitch versus fast twitch fibers in your muscles.
But I also felt slow against white guys. So, I mean, that's really on me more so. But I don't know. It is what it is. There's 185 wide receivers, 17 are white. Come on, let's keep it real.
Were you built for distance?
I could shoot, dude. I could shoot.
Nice.
I just couldn't get open, but I could shoot.
Are you in or are you out?
All righty. Eagles quarterback Sam Bradford. He might miss a little more time than initially thought. He's got the separated shoulder, but also some of the Eagles locker room say Mark Sanchez, this is interesting, handles the pace of the offense better. Sanchez will remain the starter for the rest of the season, inbounds or out of bounds.
I'm going to say out of bounds, only because of what Mark Sanchez is prone to do, which is throw bad interceptions at inopportune times. I mean, no matter how many chances he gets, he always seems to do the same thing. Always. It's confounding. Just make a safe play. In that situation last weekend, all he had to do, ground the ball, kick the field goal, right? The guy's not open, don't throw it. He throws it, pick an interception, and they end up losing the game.
You know who he is? I'm going to give you a baseball analogy because the next inbounds, out of bounds pertains to the Cy Young race and whether or not the right people want it. Mark Sanchez is the kind of pitcher who, when you look at the box score the next day, you see 6 in the third innings, 4 runs, and not many walks, not many hits, but the one hit is a big 3-run bomb.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, in the 6th inning.
At the most inopportune time, correct. I do believe with the thought that he does handle the pace better. Just your eyes tell you that. There's no doubt about that.
Without any, and he's prone to run. Like
he is.
He's a threat to run. Not prone, but he's a threat to run.
And even on the rollouts, listen, half the time he throws across his body to the wrong team, but he is definitely more adept in terms of that skill set. Will he remain? No, it's out of bounds because I think there's a contractual obligation that I think will come into play here. And I do not believe he will be the starter for the rest of the season. I don't think Bradford's the answer necessarily, but...
Are you in or are you out?
All right, inbounds, out of bounds. Jake Arrieta and Zach Greinke, they're your NL Cy Young. Well, we beat them out, I should say, for the Cy Young. And afterwards, this is pretty classy. Arrieta said he would love the Cubbies to bring in free agents like Greinke. So Greinke will be in Chicago next season. Out of bounds. I don't think this happens. Not that the Cubs wouldn't cut the check. I think they actually would. I'm going to make a prediction. If he's not back in L.A., and I think there's a pretty good chance he will be, San Francisco Giants. I know how Sabian operates. I know what they put real monetary emphasis on, and that's strength up the middle. Crawford, their shortstop, they just re-signed for $75 million over 6 years, and pitching. In that spacious ballpark, Triples Alley, they really pitch. So with Bumgarner and Greinke, they're going to make a big run at him. I do not think he will be a Cubby. That's out of bounds.
I think it's out of bounds as well, but I think he stays in Los Angeles. Look, they already know they're not rebuilding because they have too much talent to rebuild, but they're repositioning who they are. And the last thing that they can do is afford to lose the second best pitcher, well, third in this case, because Arrieta obviously won the Cy Young. Top 3, you can't afford to lose one of the top 3 pitchers in baseball right now. I think L.A. does whatever it can to hold on to him.
Tune in next time for another edition of Inbounds or Out of Bounds with Tiki and Tierney.